Daddy, we're doing.
I'm doing a podcast, Dizzy. Hello and welcome to the Too Cool for School podcast. I'm your host, Yannick, and on today's episode, we are taking the gloves off and looking at the life of a professional boxer. So I'll allow my special guest to introduce himself.
Yeah, what's happening? I'm Tino, 23, professional boxer, and I'm here on the pod today, man. We'll have a little chat.
Good stuff, man. And, just to start off, just for context, me and Tino go way back. I was his head of year many years ago. So it's good to sort of see him now and, see his journey sort of moving forward. I'm trying to go back. When did you start boxing? Because I remember when we were in school.
Yeah.
Like the students would like be bigging you up, like, yo, sir, like, Tino, like, fights for England, like,
literally,
blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And if I'm not mistaken, I'm sure because of you,
Yeah.
a lot of the boys got into it. Because all of a sudden...
Everyone was doing it, everyone.
All of a sudden, it's like the boys are saying to me, oh yeah, weekend, like, we was at so-and-so in Hammersmith, or we went to this gym and we were just sparring and, like, whatever else. So it was good to see like that influence.
Yeah.
But yeah, like going back, like when did that journey start for you?
I picked it up 2012, just after Olympics. I was 9.
Yeah.
And then had my first fight at 10. Carried on fighting. Obviously, I met you when I was 15, year 10. By then, I had about 15, 20 fights. Okay. And then I think I just got into the England team, end of year 10, or maybe start of year 11. I started boxing for England. And like go nationals and all that stuff. And then yeah.
So what inspired you then? Like what 2012 Olympics? I'm trying to like who was even fighting then?
Olympics were in London, and obviously AJ got gold. So obviously all you're hearing about is AJ. Like boxing had a bit of a buzz.
AJ,
yeah, 2012.
Damn.
That's something that's mad.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So literally, I'm hearing about it everywhere. I used to play football before that. My team were in Queen's Park, but they moved to like Stonebridge, and I was a bit out of the way. What else and I watched Rocky around the same time, and watching the training and the graft, I was like, I want to try boxing. Yeah. My mum took me to the gym, and then never looked back.
And when you first started boxing, because watching it on TV and seeing what the AJs and Rocky and that's doing, and actually stepping into the ring is like a totally different.
Yeah,
it's like a totally different thing. Like I've been in the ring, like had a few like sparring sessions, and I remember one time I went to like a gym in Camberwell with Mr. Tomlin because like he boxes. Yeah, I'm not sure if he still does. Yeah, but like his trainer was there, and we went through like a few like routines rounds, and I'm like, this is crazy.
It's not what it looks like on TV.
Yeah, definitely not. So how was your first experience of it?
When I first started, to be fair, like when I was 9, all the coaches said I was good. And I remember I was better than most of the kids my age. But what that meant, they fast-tracked me. So I was 9 sparring the guys 14, 15. And the guys that are 14, 15 don't even know I'm 9. So they kind of just fast-tracked me. But obviously with that, you get beaten up a couple of times. You're with the guys that are just way stronger than you, quicker than you, better than you. You learn the hard way. Like, that's the best way to put it.
Though? What made you better than the other ones? Was it like you just picked up things better? Was it you was quicker, faster, stronger?
With boxing, when you're young, obviously you're not really thinking of what you're doing tactically. But it was more just like, they used to say I was quick, had good technique, could move well. And I think that's stuff you can't really teach a young kid. You kind of just either pick it up or not. And as I got older, I kind of just honed on them skills. Yeah. So when you got into the England team, how old were you? 15, maybe 16, probably. It was February 2018. So I was 15. Hadn't even turned 16 yet.
Yeah, so you was 15.
Yeah.
And how was it sort of like carrying that sort of because you won a national
so to get onto the England squad, you got to be in the nationals already. I didn't win that year. In fact, no, 2018 I won, so it's 2 tournaments per year, 2 nationals. I won the first national. I got to the semi in the second one. So I was still kind of national level from both tournaments. But yeah, like, obviously you got a bit more pressure on you because you just feel like you're up there. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it was good. I enjoyed it. Do you know what I mean? Like, I feel like it's a good title to have to tell people.
And how is it navigating through school? It's like, listen, man's national champion. I ain't really trying to be here with you, man.
I think, you know what it was? I think what kind of started to change in my mind, obviously, 2018, I got GCSEs coming up a year later, and I was like, boxing's one of the ones you can't really be part-time with it in terms of like, where I was, it was training. And then like, your teacher saying you got homework due tomorrow, but I'm like, I want to go sparring because I'm fighting in 2 weeks' time. Do you know what I mean? So I think juggling it was hard, but I think I kind of picked what I knew I wanted to do deep down. Do you know what I mean? And I think obviously it kind of paid off in the end where I still got good enough grades and I still done enough with the boxing, done well with it. So I think I juggled it all right eventually.
Do you think, looking back, that you could have balanced it better? Because like you were, you were a smart student, you were capable, and I'm sure that, there were many times when I had to have convos with you, like, yo, listen, like, you need to fix up. And I think one of the things that teachers really struggle with, especially with students that have that sporting pedigree, is like, we ain't trying to bring you down or ruin, what you've got going on. But also, like, we want you to be focused and not take, education for like a jolt thing, to just give yourself, whatever options. Do you feel like you could have balanced that better?
I probably could have. Like, looking back at it, I think when you're young, like now, you know how to kind of structure your life around things, time and all that. But I think when you're young, if I was to say, this is my time slot for revising, time slot for training, I probably ain't got to stick to it. You know, when you're young, you're on PlayStation, you're on this, you're doing that. So I think I could have done it better. A question of would I have, though, I don't know. 15-year-old me probably wouldn't stick to it, if I'm being honest. Do you know what I mean? Wouldn't have lasted long anyway. Maybe like a week of having a structured plan. But yeah, I think the way I was always just like, I'm always all in. I'm either like fully committed to something or I'm like, not really too fast.
And within the profession of like boxing, is that something that coaches help with? Because I know now, for example, in football, you've got certain departments that now support kids with like their education. So they'll link in with, like, I used to have like clubs who would get in touch with me and say, like, how's so and so player, doing, how they getting on? Is there any help that you need? Like, blah blah blah, because they want to keep them in check in terms of their education. Do you get that in boxing as well?
No, boxing's dark, man. You're literally you're on your own, man. And I'll say, if anything, truthfully, coaches probably do the opposite, where they're like, if they got a young kid that's got talent, they're telling them do everything. They're saying, are you running? Obviously, more time the dad will be taking him to the gym, whatever. So they'll be saying, yeah, make sure he's running, make sure he's not eating bad. Like, they're onto them. And obviously, I think a lot of the time they're looking at it thinking, I'm gonna have an Olympic champion here. I'm gonna turn this guy into a pro and make money off him more. They're just thinking long term. And a lot of people in boxing don't come from education background. In terms of like, a lot of them think, uni. They're not necessarily from that sort of field. So a lot of them, they're just like, go all in on the sport and see if you can make it. But obviously, I was decent enough to know that's probably not the smartest thing to do. Do you know what I mean? I feel like you still need to kind of have a backup plan. Even now, like, the way I think and the plans I kind of got coming up soon, it's always like, you can't always be
in one box.
Do you know what I mean? I feel like you always need to have, especially with sport where it can change like that, but boxing where it can be, you could be training, get hit with something, boom, eye socket goes, can't fight again. So it's like
a risk.
Literally.
And speaking of that risk, like, how do you manage that fear of like the serious injuries, and like how does mum manage?
I don't know. She doesn't. To be fair, I would say with her, like, I know it worries her, but I think she hides it quite well. And 'cause I've been doing it for a while, I think she's kind of she can trust me enough to know he'll be fine.
Yeah.
But I think for me, you just accept it. I think it's almost like an unwritten agreement. When you step in that ring, someone could get knocked out, either me or him.
Yeah.
It could happen. Do you know what I mean? I could be winning the fight and still get knocked out at the end. Do you know what I mean? It can just happen. So you go in there knowing, you know, even in training it can happen. Do you know what I mean? Like you could be sparring a world champ and like it could catch you with something.
Yeah.
It's just part of the game.
And speaking of like your sparring experiences, I think I saw a post recently. I'm sure it was from you where you spoke about where you like posted some of the people that you
I put TikTok out because
that you sparred against. Like out of the people that you posted, who would you say stood out for you where you left that sparring session and you was like, yeah, you know what, I thought I was that guy, but it's really him.
There's only really been a handful, and that's not disrespect to anyone else, but fighters know when a fight is special. Do you know what I mean? I would say the three that I'd probably come out the ring with would be Ben Whittaker was the first one, Jai Opataya, some Australian guy, and then third one, I'd put Vidal Riley up there as well.
Okay.
Because the thing with him, he's mad similar to me in our style. And obviously I'm quite unique for my weight class of how I can box and move and whatever. And like, he was the same. So it was kind of like meeting my match. And I was like, okay, cool, do you know what I mean? But yeah, they were the three that like stood out compared to the rest.
And for those who don't know, like how much does sparring, so this question is twofold. How much does sparring prepare you for the actual fight? And how much does sparring tell you about the opponent that you're fighting?
Ooh, good question.
Does that make sense?
Okay, let me do the first part. So in terms of getting you ready for a fight, for me, everyone will have a different answer, but I'll say for me, like 50%.
50%.
Yeah, because
so it's just sharpening you, making
sharpen you up.
Like
that's actually all you need.
Yeah.
Some people believe in like hard sparring, make it like a fight, but I think as long as your brain is sharp, of the type of fighter I am, it's more reactions and all that stuff. So I think if you're switched on, going into a fight, I think you'll be okay. And also, sparring is where you take the most damage, man. A lot of fighters that come out with long-term injury, they pick up in sparring. If you think about a fight, you're training for 6 weeks on average, sparring 3 times a week, 6 rounds at a time. So 18 rounds a week for 6 weeks. That's what, I ain't got to do the maths, but that's a lot of rounds you've done just for a 6-round fight or a 10-round fight. So all the damage you've taken is actually from in the gym. And in the gym, because you've got a head guard, people think, we can go swinging because no one's going to get knocked out, which is true, but you're still taking more shots than you would in a fight. Do you know what I mean? So like, sparring hard ain't always the answer. Do you know what I mean? You end up getting into the fight and you're kind of shot to bits already because your camps just burn you out. Do you know what I mean? I think it's knowing how to
manage.
You got to manage your body, but everyone's different. Some people are just tough like that and they just want to, do that macho thing. But
okay. I wanted to know as well, when you look back and you think about like either like school teachers, adults, or coaches, what's one thing that you've learnt from these adults that have really stood out and have helped you on your on both like your career in terms of like amateur boxing and professional boxing?
I feel like school and parenting both kind of teaches you, well, the background I had, a lot about accountability and just kind of, I think as you get older in school, obviously teachers hold your hand less and it just falls on you to either do your homework, do this, be on time. My mum was similar where as you get older, it's just, I'm not going to do it for you no more. So you got to find your own way. And like, I think that taught me a lot about life, but boxing in general, where no one's really going to do the work for you unless you do it. So I kind of just carried that with me in everything, where it's always on you. Do you know what I mean? You can't look at other people and say, but this, but that, but what did you do about it? Do you know what I mean? Even if things go wrong now, like sometimes like my career, whatever, I've kind of looked and thought, but this didn't happen. But then there's still more you could do within yourself. Do you know what I mean? Before you start looking and pointing fingers, I think you got to always look at yourself first.
Yeah.
You know.
That's important.
Yeah.
And speaking about, speaking about accountability, and all of those things that make you like the best fighter that you can be. We've spoken about sparring and you being in the ring, and yes, there's the physical aspect of it, but in terms of the mental aspect, like how do you train? Like how do you train that? How do you train like yourself to be locked in where you're like, you know what? Like sometimes I watch like Mike Tyson videos and I'm like, yo, this guy's locked in. Or you see like those TikTok videos where the guy's doing an announcement and he's like, and in the blue corner, it's the 10 times heavyweight undefeated. And I'm thinking, if I'm the guy on the other side, I'll be like, yo, guys, as soon as they ring the bell, just throw the towel in, man.
Get that money and go,
that
man.
is a mental, you know, that's madness. So how do you get yourself locked in, like mentally? And how early does that start? Does that start when you get in the ring, you're locked in? Or is it starting in training camp when you're building towards that?
It's a gradual kind of thing. I think for me, let's say I get a call, right? You're fighting on Thursday. You're fighting on Thursday, cool. Everything now is geared to that fight. So in terms of every meal you're eating, like what you do, you're not scrolling on TikTok no more. You're watching boxing clips. Like you're locked in now, right? I think for me, it's when you know you're fighting, you kind of tune everything towards a fight. As you get closer, for me, like fight week, so 2-3 days before, I feel like you kind of just think about the fight, that's on your mind all the time. So you're thinking about how the fight's gonna go, what you gotta do to him, like how you're gonna perform. That's what you can control, innit? You think about all the good spars you've had in camp, all this, all that. You get in the ring already, kind of you've replayed it 1,000 times in your head, so you get in there and you execute it. I feel like it makes it easier to replicate it once you've already kind of thought it through so many times.
No, 100%. And have you had any setbacks in boxing that you've experienced, and what did those setbacks look like?
Yeah, I could write a book on setbacks, man. Like literally, I think you probably have more setbacks than successes in boxing. But obviously, the heights are higher, so they obviously outweigh the setbacks. But I would say, just as a pro even, like, I think 4 shows in a row cancelled where opponents get injured, visas are denied, all kinds of stuff that I can't control. And it's like, what am I even doing it for? Because in boxing, you only get paid when you fight, unless you've got kind of sponsors that are paying you year round. But most of the time, when you fight, you get paid. And your team gets paid off that as well. So you're thinking, like, what's happening here? And you can't do that. Yeah, you can't do nothing about it, you know. And it's like, hard. It's a tough game where it's not like football where if you're injured, you get paid. Whether you play or not, you get paid. Like, there was a show in France a couple of weeks ago between Lawrence Okoli and Tony Yoka. And obviously, my team is part of Yoka's team as well. So obviously, they were all set to go out there. Everyone's thinking, cool, it's going to be a nice little check for us. You know what I mean? Like, it's going to be a good thing. And then 2 days before, fight gets cancelled. So now no one eats, no one on the whole card gets money. Yeah. And most fighters, obviously, you put money into your camp, 5, 10 grand, could even be $1,000, just on sparring, kit, pay your coach, nutritionist, all that stuff. And you're hoping you're going to make it back when you fight. But then to not fight, you're like, I spent $1,000 on
all of that
on what?
Nothing,
And you got to go again in whenever you get rescheduled.
Yeah.
So it's a lot.
I guess it's the fire, it's the buzz, it's the passion that keeps you
literally
going, because you can turn around and, you know, say, you know what, this is long. I ain't really trying to do this anymore. But then it's one of those ones where I've never watched, like, whether it's like a movie or a Netflix documentary from these like amazing athletes, whether it's the Tom Brady or Simone Biles or whatever else, and you look at their journey and they've not had to go through any graft. You know, this is all,
it's
this
part
is
of it,
all
man. Yeah.
part and parcel of it. And I guess in the moment you're thinking, do you know what? Like, it's so easy to give up and maybe look at other opportunities. So I definitely commend you for the fact that, you keep going. And I think what's what's good that I've seen with you as well, you've got like a good support network, a good fan base, a loyal fan base, even from
amateur times, yeah.
You know, from school times. Can't remember the fight that you had.
Dagenham.
It was definitely amateur. This was Dagenham.
Yeah.
And then, I came to the fight.
That was a London final, I think. It was a London final. You came down for that one, yeah.
And all of the students were there.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh damn! Like, you guys still keep in touch.
Yeah,
like, everyone came, and I'm like, you guys are from
other side of London,
other side of London. You come all the way
Literally.
to Dagenham to watch the fight, and I thought, you know what, that's that's amazing, and it's good to see that. I wanted to know as well, when did you go from amateur to professional, and how big is the difference?
That's a good question,
The type of athletes that you're facing, and just like the environment.
Cool. So for me, technically my pro journey started from lockdown in the sense of the coach I have now. I started working with him in lockdown. Also, I saw amateur them times. I was 17, maybe 18.
Yeah.
And we were training twice a week together. Obviously, he would teach me pro stuff for the future of when we turn pro. So I spent about 3 years working with him on the side whilst I was still fighting as an amateur. In hindsight, it didn't necessarily pay off in amateurs because you develop a pro style for amateur fight, which doesn't really...
Yeah.
They don't really go hand in hand. But in the long term, my transition was like that because then I've now said, cool, I'm going to turn pro. I won the Nationals in November 2023, and I was like, I'm going to call it there because it was my 40th fight. It was like a good number to leave it on. Just won the Nationals. I was like...
40th amateur fight?
Yeah, 40th amateur fight.
And what are you what's your amateur record?
So that was my 29th win. So 29 and 11.
Okay.
And again, in the amateurs, every fight is a 50-50. So it's like, I would say if your record is even like 10 and 10, he's probably a decent fighter. So that was my 40th fight. End of the year, I said, yeah, leave it there. Put my application through to turn pro in January. Didn't hear back from the board until May. You have an interview, you get your license done. And then this is even another setback I had. I was scheduled to fight in June, right? So I've got my license now. I'm officially a professional fighter.
And that's what it is. They just interview you.
Essentially, yeah. Because obviously you go there, they talk to you about boxing, see what you know. And from the time you say, yeah, I box for England, they're like, okay, he can fight. Yeah. So they ain't got an issue. But if I went there and said, I've had one white collar, I've only been training for 6 months, they'll be like, why would we give you a pro license? Like, what? Do you know what I mean? You're
I
hazard.
Just go there off the cuff and be
nah,
like,
you could, but then what they would say, they can do a thing where they take you to an assessment. Okay. So it's bare people that they're half about, and they just watch them.
Yeah.
Because some people might have never had a fight, but they could be good. Do you know what I mean? So they do kind of take into account.
Okay.
But yeah, I got my license in May, and I was meant to fight in June. So again, pro debut, sold tickets. I sold probably about 100, 150 tickets for this one, yeah. Got to the week of the fight. All my medicals have gone through. And then the British board contact my team and they're like, Tino's got to redo his eye test. Long story short, Specsavers who done my eye test, they didn't fill out the form properly. So now the board are like, yeah, we can't let him fight with this. I need to get updated. I've retook the eye test. Bear in mind, this is like 3 days before the fight is scheduled. They're like, yeah, cool, we've got it. Everything's fine on this second one. But your results from your second test and your first test are slightly different. So now we need to verify what's gone on in the time since then, like why your scores are different. But our logic was, it's two different. Like your scores aren't going to be exactly the same to a T though, do you know what I mean? Long story short, obviously, fight got cancelled. Refund everyone tickets, all that. They investigated it from June up until October, November. So all that time, I don't even know if I'm going to actually get my pro license passed because the board are reviewing my eye scan. They're saying I had to go see a specialist, pay like another £500 for that. Just all kind, and my eyes are fine. I don't even wear glasses. Like what? Yeah. You can't tell me. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, that was 5 months just sitting, basically do nothing. Do you know what I mean? Wow. And then had my pro debut January after that last year. So yeah. But
and how was that experience? Because I know I wasn't able to make it, but I watched it. I watched it live. So how was that pro fight experience?
Yeah, it's good, man.
As opposed to like an amateur.
It's different where I feel like you feel like you're actually a boxer now. It felt like when everyone thinks of boxing, they think of the big crowds and obviously you're topless and it's an actual fight. You're trying to knock a guy out. Amateur boxing, it's the same, but it's a lot smaller scale. So I think that pro debut was like I'm finally here, like at the stage I want to be at. So yeah, no, that was good. I enjoyed it.
No, that's good, man. And I wanted to know as well. So when you've had like your fighting camps, because people don't really know and understand what goes on in the fighting camps. Like what does a day-to-day look like in the fighting camps in terms of like preparation? And when you talk about having your team, like what does your team
like what goes into
of?
it? Yeah.
Because if they're cutting your check, like how many men are eating from that, you know, and how much?
First thing I'll say before we get into that, most fighters, whatever you hear they earn on TV and all that, they probably take home 60% of it. Yeah. So like if someone made a meal, he didn't even take home a meal. And that's not including taxes as well. Yeah. So you don't earn as much as it will sound like. But you got to pay your trainer, usually 10%, 15%, or 5%, depends. Pay your manager, usually 10, 15, 20.
And your manager's the person that oversees like, and like it's like the Don King vibes. They're getting like your fights and...
They do all the talking, negotiating. Yeah. Your coach is just your coach most of the time. Then some people will have like a nutritionist. They'll get... You can again pay them like a flat rate or they get like a 2% or whatever. You pay probably maybe media people you got working for you.
And this might be silly.
Yeah.
But you're getting someone to make your food, but you can make your food yourself.
The way these people... Like again, for me, I'm a big fan of like, if it weren't broke, don't fix it. Like back in the day, fighters didn't have a nutritionist. I feel like if you eat good food and you train... Yeah. Do you know what I mean? But yeah, people pay like nutritionists to tell them what to eat, when to eat, all that stuff, yeah.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
So yeah, there's a lot of people you got to pay out, and then usually you'll take home 65 maybe if you're lucky. Depends on your deal, innit, and kind of what you got sorted, but it's a lot.
So you see now with ChatGPT,
yeah.
When it comes to things like nutrition, when it comes to things like your training or sparring and whatever, has boxing moved into that or evolved into that element where
in terms of how people
be like, I've got a fighter, I need a 2-week training program,
I think so, 100%. Like I know some PTs that like, yes, they got the license, but they don't even use their brain to plan a workout. Like, it'll just be, right, chat, I've got a 40-year-old guy here, wants to lose weight, design me an 8-week plan. And I even know someone that they sold someone an online course fully from ChatGPT.
That's crazy.
Like, they were like, obviously, they marketed it. I got a course on ChatGPT. And people pay for it because, again, it's not so much a product they're getting, it's more just they want to feel like, if I pay for this course, I'm going to be held accountable. But you could have done it yourself online. Yeah.
and where you are now, obviously you're 23 now, innit? You're 23 now. You've been boxing since
14 years. Coming up to 14 years.
Like what has boxing like taught you about yourself?
Ooh. A lot, you know. It's probably shown me how much I can really do in terms of like how far you can really push yourself. And that's not even just with the training, but just like sacrifice and like how far I'm really willing to go for stuff if you want it. Like there's been times when if you got to make weight, you got to like, well, I'll be at a restaurant with my friends and like I can't even eat, everyone's eating. Yeah. And like people look at me and think, are you mad? Like how do you, just stuff like that. But I feel like when you really want something and it means a lot to you, you'll do whatever for it. Do you know what I mean? So I think it's taught me a lot about how much desire I got in me. Do you know what I mean? And how far I can push myself.
That's positive.
Yeah.
And you know, earlier we spoke about like the influence that you had on the year group. I think, did I see a video? Was it Jonathan that had a fight?
Yeah.
Was that amateur?
Yeah, amateur. Yeah.
Was that his first one?
He's had a couple now, but even with him, like, so during lockdown, I think is when he. Let me wheel it back. Actually, me and Jonathan met before I even joined the school. So he used to box at Del Youth, my amateur club.
So he was already boxing. Jonathan.
Yeah, but he was going like once a week, and I was a senior. He was in the junior class, but when I would come to the juniors to train and do my own thing, everyone would kind of look at me as like, oh, that's the guy, innit? So Jonathan just knew me as, oh, he's just that guy.
Yeah.
And then he met me at school, and he was like, I'm sure I know you from somewhere, without knowing us from boxing.
Yeah.
Then we realised we had that in common.
Yeah.
And then I kind of, during lockdown, kind of just trained him up, man. Used to come to his house, pad him, go for runs together. Nice fight, and he's doing all right. So.
I see Josh.
Yeah, he's trying to fight as well. He's got a fight coming up. Yeah, literally.
Yeah, that's big, man. That's good that you're having, you know, that influence, and even from the ones that are not doing the boxing.
Yeah.
Like the fact that I see you guys on, like, when was it? I think it was like last year. You're doing like hill runs.
Yeah. All that stuff, literally. Yeah.
Just on this fitness thing, and I was saying to Josh, like, nah, like when I get, obviously I'm not local anymore. But I was like, whenever I'm local or see my mum or whatever, and I plan it in advance, I'm gonna be like, oh, you know what, let me come,
literally, man,
and you know, have a run out with you guys. So it's good to see, you know, it's really good to see like that influence. You know, it's really good to see that influence there. Like moving forward in terms of thinking about the future, you shared that you've had like ups and downs. Like what's the goal? What's the ultimate goal for you? And like
in life or
in boxing?
Yeah,
what's the ultimate goal in boxing? And what's the timeline are you giving yourself? Because I don't know whether people give themselves timeline in boxing, because these guys are fighting and they're 35.
It's mad. I mean, to be fair, 35 is when people say boxing's a weird one, because you kind of, the older you get, the more you learn about your body. So like when I'm 30, I might not be as sharp as I was at 23, but I'll be a lot smarter. So my training will be smarter. You know your body better. So that's when I think you kind of peak around them early 30s. But to be honest, I want to be out of it by like 32, 33. I want to be out. I see myself doing more than just being a fighter. Do you know what I mean? I think some people, if boxing's all they know, which is fine, they will just be in it until they can't be in it no more. But I think I've got more to offer than just keep getting my head punched in until I'm 40. Do you know what I mean? I feel like I'd want to win a world title, maybe 1 or 2 weight classes, seeing where boxing's at the time, and then I'd move into other fields, because I know I'm more than capable of doing that. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. So early 30s, I'll be out.
And how do you find? And obviously, I know people that are boxing. I've got friends that have got cousins and, you know, whatever, that are boxing like through the various weight fields. Like, for you, the state of boxing in the UK right now, like in terms of heavyweight, light heavyweight, like feather heavyweight, like in terms of like the heavyweight divisions, like how do you see it? Do you think like UK boxing is in a good place at the moment? Like, are they good fighters that you're seeing around the circuit?
Yeah, there's definitely talent. There's a lot of talent, I'd say. I think the problem is the financial side of it is where I think it's a bit of a mess. Like, just the economy in general. But with boxing, you got a lot of people that back in the day you'd have to win a national title to be considered good. You'd have to win at least one. Now people don't even care about that, because they're going over to white collar boxing. Obviously, you can still showcase your ability. You get to earn money off of it, and you're beating up like a 45-year-old guy that's got a day job. Do you know what I mean? So people are like, they're not going down the typical route anymore. They're kind of shortcutting it. Do you know what I mean?
And for those who don't know, like, can you explain what white collar boxing?
Yeah, so white collar would be like almost like a semi-pro fight or a charity sort of level boxing, where you'll get 2 guys, usually middle-aged guys, you'll kind of get, and they're just doing a 6-week training camp, getting ready for a fight. More so for fun, a lot of them. They just do it for the crack. But a lot of people now are kind of using their boxing ability to now come down and beat people up that aren't even boxers. And it's kind of like, it's dark, but obviously for the people that are, let's say for example, myself, right? If I was to go white collar, I'd knock everyone out. I'd get highlights. I'd be, but the integrity of it is mad because you're fighting a guy that he's only been boxing for a month, and I'm getting bare clips online, and now everyone's saying, yeah, this guy's cold, but he's not. He's just beating up guys that are out of his league. So,
and I wanted to ask as well, from when you started to where you are now, is there any boxers, and you don't have to, obviously you don't have to say names, where you was like, well, me and you were here, how am I like here, and you've gone that far ahead, and how's that, like, how does that make you feel, and what's the difference between their journeys, the fact that some people can have like a quicker or higher trajectory?
I think for me, there's a couple, like obviously, I think once I got an England team, everyone's a good fighter now. So some of them gone to Olympics, some of them turned pro, some of them won titles as a pro, and then they stopped. Do you know what I mean? I think everyone's got a different journey in boxing. Some people peak late, some peak early, some just pack it in. So it's kind of like, I don't try to check what people are doing too much. Everyone's got a different timeline. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. And a lot of the time it's a bit of luck. Do you know what I mean? If you know the right guy, got you on the show, got a right picture with a certain athlete, things happen quick. Do you know what I mean? I don't really get too phased by other people's ups. Do you know what I mean? Because when I have my ups, I'm not checking for anyone else either. Same when I have my lows, I'm not looking at who's above me. I kind of just worry about my own kind of battles I got going on.
No, 100%. And I wanted to know as well, like before we sort of start to finish off, if it wasn't boxing, like what else would you be doing? Like what's Tino, interested in? Because
question.
when people come online and they see you, like you're sparring,
always,
you're boxing, you're running up hills, like what's outside of that?
I reckon if I weren't boxing, if I didn't fall down the kind of rabbit hole of boxing, I think I would have defo gone down the uni route. I was good at English. I might have probably gone into, I always say, I think either sport journalism or physiotherapy. I feel like either one of them two I think I would have enjoyed, because I could have worked for a sports club, sports team, newspapers, whatever, without being an athlete himself, do you know what I mean? But you're still in the world. Maybe done something creative, like media related. Could have done that as well, because I got interest in it. It's just something I've never really had time to explore. But
why don't you think you can do that now? Because you got a media team around you.
Yeah,
like,
I mean, there's them ones where I think
Josh, I know you document
a lot of stuff.
That you do already, and in terms of like the sports journalism, like even the TikTok thing that you did. Like that was an aspect of that. Yeah. Like I wouldn't have known
without it.
Some of those fighters won without you mentioning it. Yeah. But it's not just that you gave names. You gave
what I liked. Yeah.
What you like, what you didn't. Like that's journalism. And going back to what we were speaking about before, when you was like, you don't want to box yourself in. You don't. You can still do the boxing. You can still find creative ways of implementing your interest into, or your external interest into your current interest or into your everyday, life. And I think we're at a place now where the world, when they say like the world is your oyster, like the traditional things that we used to think about back in the days is not just, fireman, teacher, and, the teacher's got a next hustle on this side. The fireman's doing a next thing. Yeah. This businessman's got two businesses and they're like two, different, type of stuff. And I give the example of, I'm not sure if you watch, It Is What It Is the podcast with like Cam and Mace.
Oh, no. I see the clips.
But he's American and he's a rapper. Yeah. And they're both rappers, but they do sports journalism. Yeah. And that's their thing. But they're so knowledgeable about basketball and whatever else that when they're talking, you're not even thinking about
their background and
their
whatever.
background.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? So it's something to have a think about. And
I've got some plans, to be fair. Like literally, even last month, I had a chat with someone about a couple plans I've got in the future. I'll tell you off camera. But yeah, I'm always one of people where like I feel like you got to branch yourself out in different fields. Do you know what I mean? Like
100%.
I took it from growing up. My favorite artist was Kanye West, and I obviously done the music thing, then moved into fashion, and then all the other stuff. And I always remember just thinking like, you can be good at something, but also be good at something else. Do you know what I mean? People think like, oh, just because you're a good boxer, you can't be a good chef and be a good this and like, you can do whatever. Do you know what I mean? I feel like, so there's a lot of pockets I want to be in. That's why when I think, I get frustrated sometimes when people always just know me as, oh, he's a boxer. But then I remember, that's all I kind of put out there. So all people will see is, oh, he can fight. But what does he like? Like, people don't even know I can play 3 instruments. Yeah. People don't even know that. Like, I could have maybe even moved down the music field. You know, do you know what I mean? Like,
what instruments?
Piano, guitar, and the harp.
Therefore, didn't do that in school?
Nah, I didn't do music. I didn't do music at school. I stopped it by year 10. I stopped it. Okay. And again, like, it's just one of them ones where, who knows, if I weren't trying to be a boxer, like I kind of knew at the time, my mind probably would have been on something else. Don't know what it would have been. Yeah, but
100%. But I guess, you know, boxing's like the avenue that's got you to where you are now, and you can use that as a stepping stone
to go another,
you know, to move into, you know, other avenues, and I think, you know, from like I said, you know, from like school, like the support, the love that, you know, you was getting, you know, not only from like your peers, but it's extended, you know, as you've gone into, you know, professional boxing. And I remember walking in the corridors, Tino, and I was like, oh, what's this year group on? Mind you, sometimes you ain't even done anything. You're just walking by and they just Tino.
There was even a time I wasn't even in school. Someone sent me a video, I wasn't even in. I was at home.
They just shouting your name. I said, yeah, this year group's done.
Nah, and to be fair though, that chant started from our boxing gym, where every time I used to walk in, the coaches used to do it, everyone used to do it.
Oh,
and then
real?
Josh and Jonathan, obviously, because I was at my gym, they heard it.
Yeah.
Then they brought it to school. Then everyone's doing it at school. Then they would come to my fights. Everyone's doing it at my fight.
And
like,
stuck.
Even people I just meet later on in life, like, I think my name, when I say I'm a boxer, they kind of just chant it, just as like a joke, innit? Yeah. And then they'll come to a fight and realise, oh, that's an actual chant. Like, everyone's actually doing that. Do you know what I mean?
That's proper. I remember it from the amateur one as well. Everyone was doing it. I said, that's proper, man. But, you know, we got to the end of the episode. You know, it's been a pleasure, you know, having this conversation with you.
No, it's been good,
and
man.
And then just seeing, like, you know, the growth and, you know, the focus that, you know, you've had. And I think it's a real, you know, it's a real testament to the support that you've had around you from, like, coaches, like your friends, mum, you know, speaking about that mum, outside of, you know, like before we was chatting. And I remember even like having conversations with mum, even when I was like, oh, you know what, Tino needs to fix up too. But mum always had faith in you.
Literally, man.
She was like, sir, I'm gonna chat to him, but I also know he's good.
She supports a lot that I do. Like even now, like when I come to her for advice or whatever, she trusts me a lot that I'm capable of doing things. Do you know what I mean? So like she'll give her opinion and whatnot, but she'll always be like, if you want to do it, I believe you can do it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Which I think is partly why a lot of the time I'm quite confident when I go into something, because I feel like I back myself, the people around me back me. I think that's the most important thing. Do you know what I mean? If you got a good backing, you know,
100%.
Do well.
100%. Great stuff. So thank you again for coming on. So that has been the Too Cool for School podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe to our YouTube channel and follow us on our social media platforms.